want to show you now how to make posts for your WordPress page. Posts are more news oriented. So there's pages and there's posts. If you have a blog, you're going to be using posts. If your stories are news oriented or they're journaling, it's posts. So let's get started. I'll show you how to do this. Here we are in the dashboard of your website, and just select from the left posts, add new, to add a new post. Now I have some content ready to plug in, and I'm just going to copy and paste my title. I'm going to copy my story and paste it in. It's helpful when you're going to put something together that you have the copy approved, final, spell checked, etc., and your image is ready. Okay, so we have our content here, and how about we put an image at the top? I'm just going to select the top paragraph and put my image there, and then we can bump it up after we get it in place. So under Gutenberg blocks, search for image, select image. I already have my image uploaded, so I'm just going to click Media Library and select it. But if you haven't uploaded an image yet, it's not in your media library, you can click Upload and get your image in place that way. So here's an image. I'm going to just make sure that I have an alt tag for it. It's important for accessibility, and then say select. Now in this version of Gutenberg, the latest version of Gutenberg WordPress, the controls to move something up and down in your layout, the arrows are up at the top. So I have my image selected, and I'm going to just send it to the top by clicking the up arrow. I'm also going to put a little space before and after my image. So click a space, and I'm going to just make that, it's kind of a magic number, 48. And then I can thought I could duplicate this here. Oh, so it moved to the top. Getting used to that. So select your item, and under the three dots, you can select duplicate, and then you can send one of these up to the top. So now we have our image spaced a little bit. And let's put in a caption there. So instead of using this caption, I'm going to use text that's small. So under Gutenberg, I'm picking my block. It's a text paragraph, and I'll just say this is a caption for this photo. Of course, it would be a real caption, and I'm going to make it small. So select it, and then select the preset size to small from the right. And now I'm going to publish it. Just take a look. And it asks twice, not sure why. So am I really sure that I want to publish it? Yes. I click it for the second time, and then I can view the post. So here we go. We have a story. That's what it looks like so far. There's comments on the bottom, and it's not categorized. So let's go in and address that. So back into Edit Post. Click it twice. And categories are good to use for your content. They're searchable, they're clickable. This one I'm going to assign student internships, but imagine if I wanted to assign another category, like the College of Arts and Sciences as a category. I'm going to click on New Category and type in College of Arts and Sciences, could be CAS, and add the new category, and we'll have two categories for this one, just so that You get that. Then down at the bottom, these are the document settings. Down at the bottom, you'll see discussion, and that's where you can control whether or not you want comments on your post. Comments are good if, well, they're good for a couple of things, but they're good, like imagine this is a WordPress website that an entire class of students are going to be sharing together, or a bunch of researchers sharing together. It would be good for them to be able to have a discussion about the content amongst themselves. So you would want to allow comments. There's other reasons why you might want to engage with the public about something. So that would be allow comments. If you're allowing comments, then you also have the choice of allowing pingbacks and trackbacks. Pingbacks and trackbacks would be if someone is referencing the content in your post on this page somewhere else, this would notify you that your content on your site is being linked to from somewhere else. I'm going to turn both of these things off for now, and I'm going to update my story. And take a look. So we can see that we have our two categories down here. If we had more stories that were under the student internship, so I have a typo, category, or the College of Arts and Sciences, you can click on these categories. Only one story is returning because we only have one story with this category. But it could also be used as a navigation element in that way. There's another place where you can assign categories to your post. If you navigate to your full list of posts under All Posts, and you go Quick Edit, select Quick Edit underneath a post, you'll see that the title shows up, the date, whether it's published or it's a draft, not visible. You can also assign an additional category here to your post, and then say Update. If we go back to our post and view it, let's save it first, and then view it, and go down to the bottom where the categories are showing. It now is showing UVM alumni, also what we just selected in that other area, the post list. I want to show you how to set the default category for your blog posts. When we assigned the categories for this story, it was defaulting to uncategorized, and then we added the College of Arts and Sciences and checked off student internships. How about if we wanted all of our stories to default to the College of Arts and Sciences? What you would do is navigate to Settings, Writing, and then you could set your default post category to College of Arts and Sciences. That's it. Now, I had a typo in one of my categories, so let's fix that. If we navigate to post categories and look at the categories that are here, you can see I misspelled internships. So let's do a quick edit on that. And we're just going to take out that H that was there erroneously, and then say Update Category. This blog post is pretty dense with just a lot of text content. Let's add a quote in here. Let me show you how to do that. Go back into Edit Post. And we could pick something right up out of this story. And how about we put it, let's see, put it after here. So I'm going to select the text, hit the plus to add a block, and then look for a quote block. There's a bunch of different types of quotes. Pull quote or just a block quote. I'm going to add a block quote. I'm going to paste that in, and we can reconfigure it a little bit. so that it's one quote. And then there's a place for an attribution. So you would do first name, last name of whoever it was that spoke. And then this is the default quote. I'm going to make it large. And I'm going to go up and get that 48 pixel space and put some space around it. Maybe even increase it. Actually, let's increase it. So go down to the block quote here. Select the bottom, and we're going to add a spacer. On our next release of this, we will bake in some of these spacing blocks so that things will roll out a little easier as you add a block quote. The space will be baked in. But for now, we're just adding some spaces below and to the top. So now let's save it. And let's take a look at what that is looking like right now. There, so we've got a block quote, we've got a lot of space top and bottom. And if we look at that and what it might look like on the web for mobile, that might be too much space, especially at mobile. I mean, it looks okay at desktop. So let's go back to the magic 48 here. So back to edit post, and we're going to make the space above the block quote and below the block quote 48. So you can't really select them together and do the change at the same time. So we'll just do one at a time. And all I'm doing is the slider, adjusting the slider and saving it again and previewing it. That's better. I mean, it passes fine on desktop, and on mobile, it's a more comfortable distance. I want to talk a little bit about how to handle the right sidebar on your posts. WordPress comes with the option of having content here on the right side, and we haven't been putting anything there so far. It's just a nice, comfortable reading line length with an image that's kind of extending beyond the line length and a white area on the side. But I want to show you how you can use that area if you choose to do so. So coming into your dashboard, there's a drop down and you select widgets. And widgets control what appears in that right side. So this is our widget area right here. It's called posts. And you can basically drag anything from here into this widget area. Tag cloud, for example. Comments. You could put an image there. Let's put some text there. So sometimes you've seen a blog title, the title of the blog or the website there. So I'm just going to put, this is the title of my blog, and a descriptive paragraph. So just some placeholder text, nothing long, that describes my website, and click Save. And I'm going to also just add an image here. So drag an image in, image placeholder technically, and then click on the add image, and it opens up the media library, and I'm just going to select something here, and it constrains the size automatically. So if I click full size, it's still going to display it at the size that is dictated for that right sidebar. And you can put a link in if you wanted to link that image or a title. I'm just going to save. So let's take a look back at our post and see what happened after we added this sidebar. Okay, so I'm refreshing my post. And you can see we weren't planning on the right sidebar, so the image is overlapping, but it did come in. So if you choose to have a right sidebar, let's go to another post. I'll show you that the sidebar that you choose to have will appear on every post. So it's not like you have a choice of, this is actually the same image here. It's not like you have a choice of having particular content in the sidebar for one post and something different on another post. So let's go back to this one and assume that we are committing to having a sidebar. We're going to scale that image back. So I'm just going to bring that image smaller. I'm not getting any feedback on, let's see, no, it's not really telling me how much, so we're gonna wing it. So I made it smaller, I think. Looks like it also moved to the right. Let's update it and see what happened. I wish that was more precise. View post. Very small. So you're going to need to play with that if you're going to have this widget on the side with some content. That's how you use the sidebar and add some widgets or content to it. But let's reverse engineer it, because now we put it there and I actually don't want it. So I want to show you how you can get rid of it and then also make sure that that line length is controlled and not go full width of the screen. So all I'm going to do is delete when it's expanded. So click the delete button. I deleted that. I'm going to delete the image. I'm going to delete the tag cloud. I don't want it. But I'm going to take the text block and drag it in and then not put anything in it at all. So if I go back to our blog post and hit refresh, the sidebar goes away, but the text line length didn't change. Now I can go back in and resize that image again to make it bigger and fill up that top space a little better. So I'm just going to grab one of those control points and make that image big, and then save it. That's how you create a post in WordPress. That also is how you deal with the right sidebar, making a decision about whether you want a sidebar or not, and also a little bit about controlling that line length, the width of the text content on your site. We covered how to add and insert a pull quote onto your site, a little bit about using spacer blocks to control vertical spacing to give things a little more air when it can be made more comfortable to look at and read. And also we covered how to assign categories and tags to your individual post stories. I also want to encourage you to take a look at the next video in the series. That one addresses how to create a blog landing page. That page is a summary teasers of your blog stories with small snippets for each, and provides a link for users to click in to deeper areas of your site and read the blog posts.